Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and very briefly I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I just think is interesting, and it's that when it comes to, and again, remember guys, I'm a powerlifter, not a bodybuilder, so I really hate it when people go, well, how come you don't look like a bodybuilder and you're talking about this? I'm not. I'm going to talk about someone else who is a bodybuilder, has been a bodybuilder, who's trained countless bodybuilders and took hundreds of guys on the internet with crap genetics and turned them into monsters. And I know at least 5 guys personally who followed this advice they found on the internet. It was one of the very first articles we saw back in the day, 15 years ago, 14 years ago, on the internet about hardcore bodybuilding and how to do things effectively, quickly, and on a budget. And I knew at least 5 guys personally who followed this advice, and they were bigger, thicker, and stronger actually, even though they were bodybuilders, than most of the guys I see today who are promoting bodybuilding, who are on forums, who are gurus or whatever online, other than the guys who have the amazing genetics, just by following this advice. And it was a guy called Dante Trudel. He was also known as Doggcrapp, and I did have some interactions with him online way back in the day, but I'm not going to get into all of that. Now, I don't necessarily agree with everything Dante said, but the methods that he gave people really seems to help the guys who didn't have the most amazing genetics. And it's weird that we've come full circle, and now you see the whole online community going back to a lot of the really not ideal bodybuilding style training, where you're seeing all the splits coming back again. Everyone's doing high rep work, tons and tons of isolation work, tons of volume. Everyone's using exotic drugs and exotic compounds, and guys are not getting the type of size and thickness that guys were getting 12, 13, 15 years ago who were getting their information off the internet. I knew too many guys in person who were getting this sort of information online, who were getting amazing results in terms of these things. And I'm going to link for you guys down below the long version. This is a long version I found. I actually have a copy of this on my computer that Dante put out, called Cycling for Pennies. And the gist of a lot of it is that he really told people to, for one, guys who are using gear, don't keep using exotic, expensive compounds. If you can't get massive over time on a gram or 2 of test a week, there's something wrong. Your genetics are so bad that you're never going to get big, that some exotic stack of drugs isn't going to do it for you, that people are wasting tons of money on trying to find. And that's generally what he advocated, guys running a gram or 2 of tests. And his philosophy on that got plenty of guys to national level competitive bodybuilders in the heavyweight classes. He got a lot of people there. Same thing, his training philosophy was very basic. He tried to push people away from the ultra high volume. He did his Doggcrapp training, which was, as he explained it, power building. And he explained even in that article that he had known the biggest, thickest bodybuilders, they always seemed thicker, the guys who did power building versus the guys who were doing a bunch of lightweight fluff and pump work. And he noted that he had seen at least a few times elite level power lifters come in and diet down and go just dominate local shows. Their very first bodybuilding shows, they had dieted down and they would come in and win and dominate because they developed so much thickness. And he considered himself a power builder. And Dante was a big dude. There were a lot of pictures out there, and the guy says he was 5'10" at 285. He really means that. He was a big dude. And this is the style of training that he promoted, was rest pause training, moderate frequency, but a lot of people were trying to call it high frequency because you would train every body part about every 4 days. Because he would have people train 3 days a week, brutally intense training, rest pause training, but with the heaviest weights they could handle. They would do 1 work set, and it would be something like 2 workouts, rotating an A and B workout. It would be all upper body, and then it would be lower body plus biceps and forearms. All heavy rest pause training to focus on heavy compounds. And as he always pointed out, guys, he hated back then that you had a whole group of guys who were coming in and talking about, oh, I just want to get big without being strong. The same sort of bullshit you see guys talking about today. And he would point out that he had never seen anyone make it to the Mr. Olympia physique without getting massively strong first, with a couple of exceptions. And he said those guys who were the exceptions were the freaks who would grow no matter what they did, as long as they had drugs in their system. It didn't matter how they trained, but he had never seen a guy who hadn't got there. And he said once the guys got to the Olympia level, and then they were focusing on all this refinement work and not caring about how much weight they lifted, that they weren't growing anymore either. And what he had always said is that he had never met anyone who could bench press 400 pounds for 15 reps or squat 500 pounds for 20 reps who wasn't massive. And that really was the key. It didn't mean necessarily one rep mech strength, but power building, focusing on getting bigger and stronger through using the big, heavy compound lifts. That's how you put the meat on. And then his focus was on food, cramming down tons of food. And he generally advocated maintaining ultra high calories, even for guys getting ripped in contests. When he prepped guys for shows, all he had them do was keep increasing cardio to get ripped rather than cutting their food way back. He would keep them on high calories to maintain their size and just use activity and cardio to get them leaner. Now, obviously, these are enhanced guys, but anyone who's serious about bodybuilding is going to be enhanced anyway, so let's just be realistic. And it's just interesting how things have kind of come full circle again. The very things that Dante pushed and created a whole movement over a decade ago, and guys were getting thicker and bigger than what I see most of you guys out there at today through his methods, and they were doing it cheaper. The most expensive part of using his methods was the food, not the drugs. Because he didn't have a lot of money himself, and he got massive using poverty stacks of drugs. And it's just, the people have come full circle, and guys are not getting the type of results that I was seeing guys get back then, other than the top level guys in bodybuilding. Guys just are not as big or as thick as they were, and they're weaker also. And I think the two go hand in hand, and he was right. I think power building is the way to go for the guys who really want to put on size and thickness. And it's just, I thought I would reveal, I'll show you guys a link down below again of just his original article that someone has chopped up and put on bodybuilding.com, rather than me try to upload something to Google Drive for you guys. And I'm not saying he's right on everything. I disagree with a lot of things the guy says, but it's just interesting that that was the type of information we were getting online back then, and guys were getting results. They were getting better results than a lot of what I'm seeing happening today. There's been a shift in philosophy full circle, so check it out. And that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.